Great stuff. Okay, so yeah, welcome to the first Lunch and Learn of May 2026. I do just want to apologize. There has been a wonderful flu going on in our house, and this morning I'm feeling a little sniffly and a little bit scratchy. So hopefully that is it, and you will not have any effects of it in this education that we're going to be having today. So our topic for today is one I'm really excited about. It's the kind of thing that makes me really happy and enjoy marketing, and it also tends to get really lovely results for businesses. And I've decided to call it Mischief Marketing because it's bringing a little bit more fun and lightness into the content for social media in particular, because that's the kind of content that's really connecting in this new AI age that we are in. So we're going to have a look and see, and you can sort of assess yourself as we go. How bold is your current marketing on a scale of 1 to 10? So that's your starting point today. So just assess as I talk and as we go through it, so that you can get a sense of where you could maybe shift, what else you could do in your marketing, and where there could be some gaps that you could connect with your next best client. So by the end of lunch today, you're going to understand what mischief marketing really is and why it's effective, especially for small businesses. You can identify some safe, fun, brand-aligned, mischievous tricks that could work for your business, generating your own playful campaigns and using some simple frameworks and prompts, which I will talk through today. Nice low budget tactics as well. And if we don't have to spend a lot of money, that is one of the best ways you can start building your marketing presence. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do that. And then how we could go about executing a small campaign with confidence so that you don't hit any pitfalls and common mistakes. That's important. So sometimes I think the digital space is scary because we don't know where we might go wrong and how people might perceive it. So I'm going to help a little bit there. And then look at how we could actually measure real business results, not just likes and, okay, 200 people saw the post, whatever that might be. We want to make sure it's actually driving change in your business at the end of the day as well. So first and foremost, hi, my name is Tamsin Haley. I'm the founder and the business development manager, there we go, of Digital Happiness. And we are a full-fledged digital marketing agency. And what we want to do is change the economy through empowering businesses by getting them to do better marketing. And whether that's through free education like these sessions or by using our services, that's okay. It doesn't really matter to us as long as we are building strong, sustainable businesses who can grow and then empower the communities around their business. That's our big, scary, hairy goal that we want to achieve. So why is mischief marketing a superpower in 2026? I think one of the things I really love about it is it's such a great way for small and medium businesses to be able to play against those bigger budgets that large businesses have, because you can be more flexible. You can come up with an idea and get it out really quickly. You've got less decision makers and less people that you've got to say yes, 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 okay, no, I don't like this idea. Like, there's people to sign off, less red tape. So what is mischief marketing? It's playful, it's cheeky, it's looking to bend where there are rules to bend. And what we're wanting to do is catch our viewer by surprise. We want to stop the thumb from scrolling. That is always our goal in social media. We want to entertain them, and we want to make it shareable. Now, that's the trickiest bit. I mean, it's all good and well for somebody to look at it and go, that's something of value that I got out of it. But even better if we can get them to think of somebody in their lives where they're going, Kelly needs to see this, as an example, and then it gets sent as a DM. Now, there are safe ways that we can do this. So just because it's mischief marketing doesn't mean that we have to go and be, as abrasive as possible or go and be as controversial as possible. We want to look at how we can do it in a nice, safe way. Not everybody has to be Nando's, and thank goodness we've got Nando's already. They really toe that line very nicely. We always know what they're talking about. And in their time, they've also only gotten one BCCSA complaint. So even they are doing it correct and safely. That is the idea. And we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that's going to attract attention and loyalty from our followers and then shares. Now, what we know about this kind of marketing or this kind of content is that consumers are craving entertainment. We're actually less worried about perfection these days in the marketing space and on social media than we used to be. Video and graphics used to be really, really highly edited, which makes it quite expensive and inaccessible for a number of businesses. And the other thing that's happening is because AI has become so popular, we've got an influx of generic content out there. And you can see it's been written by not necessarily by somebody else. Ooh, I've got another person I just need to let in quickly. Guest. There we go. Okay, back into our presentation. So because of that space, people are looking for more authentic content, and we're seeing that people are looking for less branded content. I was having a conversation with one of our clients this morning about the logo usage on their videos, and we were saying, we really want to try and drop that down as much as possible. And they are part of a bigger franchise, so there's certain rules that we've got to play with. So we're now looking at how can we stretch those rules? How do we hide this logo almost for as long as we possibly can? Our answer was to stick it right at the end of every video rather than across all the videos. And we're going to test that now in the next month. So you see, we're always looking at different ways of how can we make it more personable and more human. This is a conversation you're going to have to have with your business going forward. By 2035, we're expecting businesses and people doing business with businesses, to want very personal touch messages, to feel like they're being spoken to directly, that the person that they're buying from completely understands the exact spot that they're in and why they're making that purchase. So we have the advantage because you can move fast and you can be really authentic as a small business as well. So they often do get really massive organic reach at a low cost. And at the end of this presentation, I'll show you one of our clients where I basically educated their sales force on how to do this. They went out there and did it, and we measured it. And just on organic posts, they had huge business impacts. And we'll look at that in a bit as well. So what are your benefits if you're leaning into Mischief Marketing? Well, you can have higher recall, so you're staying more top of mind, which is fantastic. That's what we want. When somebody needs your product or service, you want to be the first option they think of. It also helps increase your word of mouth, which is one of the best ways the business can just still do business. And social media should be there to bolster that on rather than focusing too much on driving cold leads. Bit of both. But bolstering on word of mouth is a fantastic strategy for businesses. And a lot of social amplification as well also helps you stand out. So if you're especially in a very competitive market, and there's a book about this as well, you can go and have a look at it if you haven't read it already. We're looking for your blue sea marketing rather than dealing in your red sea. Your red sea being full of sharks and a bloodbath, your blue sea being where you are the only option because of how you've positioned your brand. That's what we want to do. So a couple of ideas you could have a look at befores and afters to see if you, what is, and have a look at your own marketing, like what is boring versus where is that mischief that you can bring into your mix. So we start with a mindset shift. So we often, when we go into digital marketing and especially social media, safety is where people want to play. I've had so many conversations with people over the years where, just even considering moving onto social media causes anxiety for them. Because what if the trolls creep out of the woodwork? What if they're just having to put out more fires the whole time? What if people are saying terrible things about them online? And quite honestly, then the amount of times that has happened with any of the businesses that we've known about and worked with has been maybe twice. And one of those, to give you an idea, was because somebody who created a video on another team used footage that they didn't get permission for. So of course that's going to then cause an uproar. But we actually don't get all that upset on social media that quickly. The keyboard warriors are there, but that's the thing. So we often come in from a safe place of oh, I've got to play it safe. I've got to play it safe. I've got to be serious. I've got to be professional, and we put all these filters on ourselves. And what it does is it actually creates a barrier that stops us from really being able to connect with people. So tapping into that playful, bold side is what can help break that. And you can still be professional. There's a real estate agent here in Somerset West that I know. I mean, she's one of the top agents for their I want to say firm, real estate agents business. So clearly, like I said, the scratchy throat and everything is affecting my brain slightly. I'll work on my word choice. But her social media videos are just, they're fun, they're quirky, they're funny, they poke fun at certain things. Like one I can think of at the moment is, people saying they want to work with an agent with more experience. So she's gone and made a video where she's selling her first cave to a Neanderthal, and all of those different things. So just poking fun at her age, but she does have that experience. And I've asked her, that video has bought her business. So we sometimes need to not take ourselves as seriously. So we always want to come from a strategy first perspective. If it doesn't help you with your business growth, it shouldn't be in your content mix. So having that idea of what it is you want to drive forward first is important. And then you can be creative with the ideas. And not every mischievous idea is going to work. So you've got to use that common sense filter and still go, is this on brand? Is it me? Because if you can answer yes to both of those things, you're creating something that's authentic. If not, can it be shifted? Can you adapt it? Yes, great. No, leave it alone and move on to the next idea. So be cheeky. I think cheeky is far better than trying to be controversial. Controversial is often where people shoot themselves in the foot, so just trying to be otherwise or different. I was listening to some content a couple of weeks ago where the speaker was talking about sort of how to help people with financial planning, but some of the messaging came across as really condescending and sort of also trying to insinuate the government is hiding information from you. And I must say that the only feeling I had after watching that was, I don't know if I want to do business with this person. So that's where the controversial side can get you into very easily. But being fun and finding the fun and poking fun with that cheekiness would be a better focus. And then you've got to sort of look at, start with some low risk ideas. You don't have to go big. Just something different. Try one, then try 2 ideas, then try 3 ideas. And just always assess, how did that go? How did people receive it? You can always ask the people around you for some feedback as well before you post it if you're unsure. Show your mom, your dad, your husband, wife, whoever it is that's close by, a business partner. Ask one of your best customers if you've got a good relationship with them. Get feedback. It's perfectly okay to do that. I think we actually don't do that enough. And then we always want to stay legal, respectful, and on brand. If we can keep those 3 rules in place, you are actually fairly safe. So it doesn't break any laws. If somebody watches this content, would they be upset? These are legitimate questions to ask. And then if it doesn't actually connect with your brand, it doesn't deserve to be there. So I've got a couple of techniques and tactics that we're going to look at, and you can see what might work for you. Number 1, so just looking at some cheeky content and hooks. Now, I've given some examples all the way through these just to get your brain thinking. But the idea here being, things we shouldn't put in cupcakes from a bakery. And you can have a lot of fun with that. Weirdly enough, the first one that comes to mind is something that is put in cakes, coins, Christmas pudding, that used to be a thing. And then if you found the coin, you had luck for the next 12 months. So that would be one example, but it could, this bakery could do tiny rubber duckies or weird things. And, you can always put a disclaimer in the text saying, none of these cupcakes were actually sold in the shop, which is if you want to be safe with that. But it will be something humorous and a great way to connect with your audience. Some are just talking on baked goods. Starbucks has been doing a really good job of this. If you want to go check out their social media and see what they're doing, what they've done basically is they've allowed their employees to start creating their own content, and they're giving it from the barista's point of view. It's like, what happens when you order your triple whip rainbow sprinkle syrupy drink in our heads or in the machine. My favorite one I've seen that they've done was, where they tried to then pronounce the names that they wrote so badly on the cup in the first place. So again, poking fun at themselves for something that we all know has become part of their brand. So where can you do that? Something a little bit different. Now, I love a good guerrilla campaign. It's probably where my marketing journey started, was at Varsity, pulling off guerrilla campaigns for our res. So Stellenbosch, the whole Rag-Yule fundraising that we'd have to do every year. And you can do it in ways that you're not damaging property, and that's important, right? So talk, that can be washed down. Temporary takeovers, window displays, collaborations could fall lovingly into this space. And I think, you can think creatively with different businesses or suppliers that you have to go and figure out what you could do differently. I love this one. You could just say free coffee if you tell a bad joke as a pop-up. Even better if you get it on video, because then you've got content that you could use on your social media. So you could get somebody to get them to submit it, and then they could come and pick up their free coffee as an example there. Or if you're doing a collaborative effort, you could do those sort of pop-up signs at wherever the other business is, so that you're getting in front of their client base, and you can get that on social, share it. Brilliant ways to start building a shared, authentic community as well. So putting this one in as an idea. So Burger King style bold moves adapted safely for small scale. So if you can sort of do different coupon drops, you could do cultural tie-ins if you've got public holidays. I think South Africa is pretty good at that. For a couple of the bigger brands, actually quite good at it. If it's Heritage Day and a Braai Day, you will get something out from Checkers, which is in line. One of the things I really enjoyed watching last year actually was all of those adverts that Checkers did for the different rugby games, right? And we had a Springbok dancing through the aisles of a Checkers store. There's things there where you can sort of go, here's a theme. I want to jump on board with that. I want to see how I can capitalize on it. And sometimes it can be a bit corny and it can feel like it's forced. So you kind of want to avoid that feeling. But if you go, oh, this is a good idea, I can tie in, just trying to think, what is our next one? Youth Day, as an example. What could you do for Youth Day? What could you do for Mandela Day? I mean, there are things that exist where you can tie in and there's a theme and it becomes trending simply because everybody already knows that that's what's happening at that time. Be experimental. So this was an idea here with some photo walls and some props, especially if you've got a team, maybe it's a smaller team. What could you do in the office to bring out everybody's personality? Why is that important? We connect with people, we do business with people we like and we trust. And especially if we're seeing a team environment, suddenly the business is a little bit bigger and it feels like you might be part of a group or a team. And that's just as the viewer, never mind the people involved in that video. What we've also seen with sort of getting a team involvement in place when you do good social media and let them come up with ideas is your culture within your business changes, which then means that your customer gets better service, which means that they're more likely to become a repeat customer. So we've got case studies where just having a fun social media campaign highlights and improves the business as a whole because everybody's on the same page. So, I mean, yeah, there we go. Rate your bad day on a misery meter. You've got a retail store, you could do that. You could do befores and afters as well, like how miserable were you before you spoke to us? How are you feeling now? How did you leave us feeling? And that's great because you also then show that transformative journey that you're taking people through. A transformative journey, if you don't know what that is a great tool and technique in storytelling and advertising where you go, well, this is where the person was. They then interacted with us and we took them here. So you always want to sort of be the same, especially if it could be like a negative outcome. Think insurance, right? You're going to die, but you can die and everybody will be left looking after. So that's, at least a fairly equal in some way outcome rather than an improved outcome. So that's something you can think about as well, as how can you take people on that journey through having these fun and experimental videos and posts happening on your content. So here we go, collaborations, and you can go a little bit unexpected. I thought, having cheat day, gym, donuts, that's quite nice. And it makes sense because you've got the concept together. So teaming up with maybe your non-obvious business partner. I'm trying to think now. We've got the real estate agent that I was talking about. She has teamed up with a property inspector, and now because they're not directly in real estate, it's actually working really, really well. When you are looking to buy a place for peace of mind, here's the report that comes with it. You can see all the faults where all the maintenance needs to happen, and that's been quite good for the relationship that they've been able to develop from there. So where could you get those unexpected partnerships from that could delight your viewers? And then where can you also bring in some digital and real world hybrids? We have a lack of this. This used to be really popular when social media was first developing and growing. And I think we've gone and decided that we want to sit behind a computer and just pump stuff out. But that activation space that we can do in our businesses, it really can have a huge impact if we do it properly online. So where can you do what? So if you are doing a pop-up store or you think you should do a pop-up store, it's a great idea. Go and create that content out in the real world. Be funny, be quirky, showcase where you're going to be doing it. Create a treasure map, get people to come and find you. I'm just thinking, in Somerset Mall here, if we could do something like that when they have all those little markets and stores, you'd stand out if you sort of left a trail. Maybe a combination of that guerrilla marketing and these real world hybrids is where that's coming from. So there's some ideas just to start thinking a little bit differently. But what else could you do to start setting you on a path that's going to help here? Start with auditing your brand voice. Number one, what do you sound like? What does your business sound like when it talks? Are you still sounding very professional and serious all of the time? Where can you bring some lightness in? And you can decide where your mischief level sits as well. Like, you don't have to be bouncing off the walls nuts. You could just be a little quirky and just have some personality. Decide where you are and where you want to go. Start with 5 ideas. Now, not all 5 ideas are going to be great. The amount of ideas that we use and lose when coming up with content, it can be astronomical. But we can go, right, so there's the 5 ideas I want. And then if you find that you're still like quite serious and structured, and this is the way that I've always done things, ask yourself, what would the opposite of this idea look like? You might come up with something really good, or it might give you some other ways to think of that idea that you can then go and develop for your business. Pick one. Choose one. Just start with one. Go and create it, get it out there, and measure its impact. You never know until you've done it whether it's going to work or not. I'll give you an example. I've actually rolled out some social media in the last week. Honestly, I thought it was going to take a couple of months maybe to get some traction. 2 posts, and my inbox was a little bit flooded, and I needed to deal with that this morning. Now, that's the kind of thing we tell our clients doesn't happen all the time, but it can happen every now and again if your content just hits the mark and you've answered that need to the people who are listening to it. So have a look and have a think about how you can do that. And then, roll it out, measure, decide what you're doing next. Launch it, document it. And you can also then share behind the scenes. If you want to create pieces of content like this, the behind the scene video is often better than the piece of content that you created, because people want to know what's been going on. So like, I've got a client shoot that I'm going to on Monday, and while my photographer and videographer is busy doing the serious work, I'm going to be doing the behind the scenes stuff, which we can then poke a little bit of fun of. And our client can use that, but we could use it as well, because we are a digital marketing agency. So we can give it a little bit of a fun twist for our own marketing. So 2 birds, 1 stone. And then, lose what isn't working, keep what is working. Do more of what's great and connecting with your audience. And if there's stuff that's getting, like, I don't know, a reach of 20, it probably shouldn't belong in your content plan anyway. So move it out. I do like including this timeline. So if you've watched any of the other Lunch and Learns, you'll have seen this as well. Week 1 is all about brainstorming. So try it out, launch your test, and then run through a full campaign once you get to that point. So how can you measure success and avoid pitfalls? Because we want to always do this safely. Have a look at your engagement. So these kinds of posts, we want to be watching engagement, not reach, not views per se, but what is happening further than that. How many people are commenting? How many shares are happening? So the posts that I've mentioned, I mean, I'm actually going to be releasing a video on this tomorrow to say thank you for the voice notes, the WhatsApps, the emails, the DMs. That's the kind of traction that we want to be measuring. So it's real-time return on investment-led measurements, not just vanity metrics like likes and reach. Those are important, but we're working on a budget here, and we want to make sure that our businesses can get the traction that we want them to get. Your website traffic is really important. How many people did you actually get to your website from that one reel? Do you have a physical store? We've got a client where we started rolling out some posts for them. I think she was 2 or 3 days in, and she called us to go, I've asked every person who's walked in the door, and they all said they found us from Facebook, because they didn't recognize a single one of them. That's the kind of result that you want. We're going, that worked. There's something we executed, and there was a direct measurable result because of it. Extra points if you can figure out things that are going to get you some media attention, or get it, retweeted, reshared, and things like that by somebody who's a bit more influential than you. That would be great. It's a nice goal, and something you could think about and see how you could strategically bring that in for your business. And then also your brand sentiment. How are people feeling about you? Are they feeling more positive? Are they feeling less positive? You can get some pieces out, and then ask your clients, what did you think of that? Did you see it? What did you think of that compared to what you know about us? You're also going to learn a lot about your current clients and how they perceive you. And you're probably going to strengthen your relationship with them as well, just for asking them questions and asking them for feedback. So all things that we can think about. A couple of things that you can have a look there for some tracking. So using your platforms like Meta Business Suite, Google Analytics for your website. And if you want to be fancy, you can go into some simple UTM tracking as well, which will give you more results on precise pages. Yeah, so avoid at all costs being mean or offensive. We don't have to be controversial. We can be fun, go mischievous, go lighthearted. Keep all legal laws in place, be respectful of people. You don't want to sort of bring any prejudice into your content, because that's going to very quickly negatively affect your business. That is something that we would want to avoid. And then always remember to include your call to action. It's all good to have the fun, but don't forget to tell people how to do business with you, because at the end of the day, you're having the fun so that they can do business with you. Okay, so complete the circle. And then don't overdo it. Like I said, start small, be a little bit more risque than you normally would. If that was comfortable and you got a good result and you want to be a little bit more risque, you can. Rather scale it up slowly than go and throw the whole book out of the window. Okay, so step by step, baby steps, always baby steps, and that's fine. And then you just measure the whole way. A lot of marketing is test, measure, and we often forget to do that. We just do a whole lot of stuff and hope that it's going to have worked. So these are going back to our basics and our baby steps. So I mentioned a client that we've worked with where we did exactly this. Now, for a marketer, the worst thing that you can hear is we want to increase our return on investment off of our organic social media content only. Worst sentence to ever get. In this case, that's exactly what we heard from Ford. And we then went to the drawing board and went, okay, if we were going to do that, how would we measure it? Because that's the important bit. So number one, it was the only thing that changed in their marketing mix at that time. I went in and I educated 250 sales agents across South Africa, so it's the whole of Ford South Africa, and their goal was to get a 7% increase on national sales. And because of the tracking that we put in place, we were able to go back with them and we could see that by the end of 5 months, they had a 6% increase in sales. So it does work when you let loose a little bit and go and create some amazing content. If you want to have a look to see what we did with them, go ahead and use the hashtag FordPower on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, and you'll get some of the content in front of you, which was out there. The goal was employee focused, keep the people centric, and it does the job. And we're seeing the content like this is connecting more and more and more. Going forward, I expect nothing less than for this to continue and strengthen. So it's not quite jumping on the bandwagon. If we're a little bit ahead of the curve, get doing it now before everybody else wakes up and clicks onto this. So these sessions, I have 2 of these a month. I call them our Lunch and Learns, the idea being that you can eat and relax and learn something before diving into the rest of your day and finishing off the week. It's always on a Thursday. It's always at 1 o'clock. They are 100% complimentary, and they're here to help us empower more businesses going forward. You are more than welcome to book as many of these sessions as you would like throughout the year. There's a new topic every time. I don't rehash any information. So I like to keep it current as well. So what are we seeing works right now when you see this video? We also love doing some in-person workshops, and I've got one in Johannesburg next week. The ticket's actually closed tomorrow. I'll be presenting this with Roseanne White, who is from Trefkracht Digital, is my Afrikaans for the day. And what we're going to be focusing in on is how can we get paid advertising working for smaller businesses. We've got a couple of tips, tricks and tips that we're going to be sharing. Roseanne's focusing in on Google. I'm going to be sharing the 3 campaigns on Meta that I think every business should be running, and that the combination of brings good return on investment. So that's going to be there in Little Tuscany in Bryanston next week. We've got a couple more workshops coming up in the next little while as well. So we had one in March, which was called Growth Actually, and I hosted this with Aniel Fulwe from Storied. It went really, really well, and we got a lot of requests to repeat it and do one online. So in June, on June 10th, we are going to be hosting an online Growth Actually. I'm getting the marketing out for that next week, so you'll be able to book your tickets, and the early bird will run for 2 weeks. I highly recommend that you get it at the discounted price. Why spend more when you don't have to? And then we've got a couple more workshops coming up. You'll see there's another Growth Actually one there. In August, I'm working with a graphic designer where we're going to be looking at branding and what does it actually mean in 2026? How do we meld that in with that personal touch that I've been talking about? And I've got a business coach joining me in October, so we can go, right, what is our 2027 business plan? And then how do we go and pull that into a decent marketing plan? Looking forward to 2027's trends and what's going to work in the year. I'm rolling this out and I'm excited about it. I'm going to start with my first individual strategy sessions in June. So what this is a group marketing coaching environment, which is there to help businesses who aren't ready to outsource just yet because budget, and that's a real thing, especially at the moment. We need to take that into account. So the first session is a private session with me, where we'd sit and build out your strategy for your business, build an actionable plan with a to-do list, and then into a group coaching environment, where I'll be there to help hold you accountable, because the sessions will happen every 2 weeks and there'll be homework in between. But you've also got full access to me if you're getting stuck, if you need knowledge, if you have an idea that you want to soundboard. And when I first started the business, I joined a group coaching environment, and I found that I learned as much from everybody else in the group as I did from the coach. And that's why I thought, let's actually do this as a group coaching environment, because somebody else could be working on something very different in their marketing, or have a slightly different way of thinking about it. And you could either go, well, I definitely don't want to do that for my business. That's great. That's a learning. Or you could go, oh, I like that. Oh, they got some good results. How do I now bring that into my strategy? It's a fantastic way to learn. So if you're interested in
Is that in person or online?
I'm going to be doing it online, because I think it just makes it a little bit more accessible.
Cool. Sounds good.
Where are you based?
I'm in Amanus. I'm just over the mountain.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, so that would work then, to be online. I mean, if you really wanted to, and you happen to be out this side, we could do the first session in person. We can play with it a little bit, because they would just be one-on-one.
Yeah, I'm more interested to kind of meet other business entrepreneurial people who are feeling a little bit isolated. So if there's kind of strategic networking opportunities in the form of workshops and coaching, I would be interested in that in the future. Yeah.
Awesome. Good to hear. Well, some of the Hollywood Basin ones, the online session then in June, and this could be some lovely options. Good. And then, this is how we built the business, by doing all of these services for our clients. So if it's online and it falls under digital marketing, we can assist businesses with this. And we've been around now for 8 years. We've got some fantastic results for our clients. And this is just an example where we've been working with Volpes. Listen, so one thing I do need to say, they've got a big budget, but we were able to take that budget and get them 3 times the return on investment. And what I do love about big budget clients like this is we get to learn where we can go and implement small changes for small businesses that will bring even bigger results, with all the algorithm changes happening at the moment as well. A couple of our clients who we've done some work with, so you will see that these are on the larger side. But the way that we build our business, we're actually able to work with businesses of all sizes. And like I mentioned, the one store who was checking in on Facebook, that is our top one. We just ran Facebook for them, and it made a big impact in their business. Or sometimes, just the newsletter, or just Google Ads. And we start there with smaller businesses and then build up with them as their marketing budget allows. And that's something that could also happen from the group coaching. Sort of build it up. You might get to a point where you're like, right, nice and busy now. You look after this. You understand the business. We've walked a path together. These are all options to help you grow your business.